You're chatting with a potential romantic partner online, perhaps a lovely young lady or a handsome young fellow or anything in between. Point is, they've shown interest in you and you're all too eager to show them your interest back. They send some photos of themselves to you, some rather provocative ones. You send some intimate images of your own back, only to be turned around when your potential partner starts threatening you with blackmail, extorting you for money in exchange for keeping your privately shared content to themselves. Now, no one wants a situation like this on their conscience, but online blackmail like this, otherwise called sextortion, is a crime becoming more and more common in our world today. My name is Louis Rocco, and I'm with Digital Forensics Corporation. I'm here to tell you all about the world of cybercrime, and today we'll be talking about online blackmail and how to deal with it if you found yourself to be a victim. The words blackmail and extortion go hand in hand. Merriam-Webster defines the word extort as to obtain from a person by force, intimidation, or undue or illegal power. When applied to the realm of the internet, there are many possible kinds of sextortion and extortion and blackmail rackets, typically preying on unawares individuals or people with lower technological literacy. Today we're going to talk about several topics to help you keep informed on how to know if you're being blackmailed, what to do if you are the victim of blackmail, and how to stay safe in your future online activities. Let's dive in. Sextortion is the most common form of online blackmail in today's society. Sextortion can come in several varieties, ranging from your standard catfishing on social media or dating platforms to more nuanced online romance scams or email sextortion scams. However, each type of sextortion scam have several things in common. They begin with a situation where perpetrators will lure unsuspecting victims in with false promises of romance or intimacy, generate enough trust to gain personal information and private media from their victims, and then force the victims to pay them or perform favors in exchange for not sending out these photos, videos, or the information to their friends and followers. That is the basic plot of a sextortion blackmail scam. Blackmail comes in many forms and from many sources, but when dealing with the internet, is online blackmail actually a crime? Well, the Hobbs Act considers extortion a federal crime, in fact, under the law passed by Congress in 1946. Although the Hobbs Act was enacted as a statute to combat racketeering and labor management disputes, the statute is frequently used in connection with cases involving public corruption, commercial disputes, violent criminals and street gangs, and now in cases involving internet blackmail and extortion. Under federal and state law, an extortion conviction can carry up to 20 years of prison time on top of heavy fines and penalties, regardless if happening in person or online. In short, no matter how someone is being blackmailed, they are the victim of a crime. If you're actively the victim of a blackmail or a sextortion scam, you may be wondering, well, what do I do now? Where do I go from here? Can anyone even help me? Well, to answer these questions and more, allow me to introduce one of our senior analysts, Ken Kay, who is joining us today. Ken, thank you for taking time out of your day to talk with me.
Not a problem. Thank you for having me.
So Ken, first of all, could you tell us a little bit about what it is you do here at Digital Forensics Corporation?
Oh, certainly. I investigate and document the various cyber crimes that we're hired to handle, and I try to resolve them to hopefully come to our client's desired outcome.
So you've definitely then had experience with blackmail and sextortion?
Oh, definitely, yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about that. Sure. So first off, what are some things before anyone ever gets into a blackmail or sextortion situation that someone can do to try to recognize they're being set up?
Well, the first and largest telltale sign is getting a friend request or a contact request from someone that you don't know on social media. Right now, Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, Tinder, those are some of the biggest platforms that these perpetrators are using to target their victims.
Well, let's say somebody does add me on one of those platforms, but they tell me that they found me on another platform that I know I posted that information publicly on. How do I tell then?
Well, a really good way is to pay attention to the grammar of the person and the questions that they're asking you. Very often, proper grammar will not be used, and they'll start with seemingly innocent questions like your age or where you live or what you do for work, things that are traditionally public on most profiles. And they're doing this because they're trying to triangulate you on other social media platforms that they haven't found you on yet. So if you are testing the water out there, try not to overshare too much personal information.
And I would assume under no circumstances should you send any inappropriate pictures.
Absolutely not. I think that should be a general rule for the entire internet.
Now let's say I've been the victim of a sextortion blackmail scam. What should I do?
Well, the first thing you should do is contact your local police precinct, file a police report, and then also file a report with the FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center, also known as IC3.
Well, that seems pretty standard. Now, how much does that help?
Honestly, not a lot. Most police precincts aren't very well equipped to handle cybercrimes, in general, especially if the culprit isn't located in the United States, which they seldom are. And the FBI has so many investigations ongoing that it would be a miracle if you actually got a direct response if you did contact them.
So why do it at all then?
It's a protective measure. Having the incident on file can, from personal perspective, be helpful by documenting the situation before you're further victimized. So, for example, your culprit decides to release your content and on a one-page website online, claiming that you're into some really taboo stuff. You then have it on record that you're actually a victim of a scam rather than a predator or worse.
Good to know, good to know. Now beyond that, what should my next steps be?
You want to lock down the privacy on all your social media. Make sure that your Facebook, your Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, TikTok, whatever it may be, make sure that those accounts that you're linked to other people that are only visible to those people.
Now why is that?
Well, not all blackmailers start with gathering the information that they need to send your content to your contacts first. Some do, but not all of them. So cutting off this potential avenue of release can definitely help minimize the damages.
Well, what about just ignoring the blackmailer altogether? If I block them, won't they just go away?
I see that advice from a lot of other sources, just to block and ignore the culprit, not to engage them at all. The issue there is that, well, yes, that does work sometimes. There's other liabilities. First, they still have your material, which means that they can send it to other scammers that they know to try to get you again another time down the line. But there's also the possibility that they may just go ahead and release your material anyway. If you block them, it really is 50-50.
Well, if I shouldn't ignore them, should I pay them anything?
Definitely don't do that. It's a bad idea.
Why not? Why?
Well, paying the blackmailer is basically just putting a target on your back. It signals to them that, you're easily intimidated, you're afraid, and you're probably going to pay them more money no matter what you paid them initially.
So they think they have a fish on the hook, is what you're saying, and they want to reel it in?
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. These people don't care about whether they ruin your life or not. That part's just a means. Their end game is the money, and as much of it as they can get, and they're not going to stop until someone stops them.
Now, I'm pretty tech savvy myself. Well, what if I want to try to deal with the blackmail myself?
That honestly kind of goes hand in hand with my last point. You don't really know what's going to happen, and unless you have some of the tools that companies like ours have access to, you're not going to get very far. I'll always recommend seeking help over trying to handle these things yourself.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. Now, on that topic, let's change gears here a little bit and talk a bit more about what it is you do with cases of blackmail and sextortion here. If some of these scammers are outside of the country, what exactly are we doing to stop them?
That's a great question. So the basics of the process kind of goes like this. An investigator will take your case, and after confirming all the details with you over the phone, they take over communication on whichever platform is in use to contact the suspect. Eventually, the goal is to get tracking links sent to the criminals so that we can gather all sorts of identifiable information, including their location, what type of phone they're using, and a slew of other things, but most importantly, an ID. If we get an ID, it's like hitting the jackpot. We get a picture, we get their address, we get all sorts of information about who and where they are. And then once we have all that information, we do compile it into a letter and send it to the suspect, along with an introduction to who they're really talking to, as well as our own very serious list of demands. And from that point, our focus is getting them to agree to our terms and provide proof that the content in their possession has been deleted. And once we have that outcome, a report is created documenting every single step of the process so that our clients can see exactly what it is that we did to help keep them protected.
So you mean to tell me that all the IDs out on the wall there in the office, those are actual scammers that we've caught?
Oh yeah, and that's not even half of them. We have thousands more. Those are just the ones we decided to put up to show people what we really do here.
Wow, that is impressive.
Yeah.
Well, Ken, I thank you so much for taking the time out of your day. I really appreciate you answering my questions for me today, but I'm gonna let you get back to work.
Well, it's been my pleasure. I'm very happy I was able to answer your questions for you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Blackmail is a very serious crime, especially when being committed online. We hope that this video has helped educate you on what to know and how to proceed should you find yourself in a situation like this. If you, a friend, or a family member are experiencing a situation right now, remember, our experts are here to help you. Digital Forensics team is available 24/7 to take your case, and with an over 90% success rate when handling situations of blackmail and sextortion, we're confident in our ability to help you put a stop to your culprit and bring back your peace of mind. Once again, my name is Louis Rocco with Digital Forensics Corp. See you next time.